Rob, moving on to the Currie Cup here, you were saying earlier there were some massive scores. Top four, Province still 4-point cushion in front. Puma's probably going to slip out of the top four. Are the Bucks going to come back for the last few rounds? I mean, a lot can change.
Yeah, you've already seen little dribs and drabs of Springboks who've been quite sort of peripheral members of the squad coming back. A guy like Lwazi Mvovo making a big difference actually to the sort of fluidity of the Sharks play. I still think that you might get some further Springboks getting released, but there was of a commitment, at least verbally, from a Saru point of view this season, that headline box would not play any Currie Cup at all. Now, whether that will hold firm, we don't know, because come the end of the competition, you start thinking, they're desperately wanting full stadiums, obviously, and full stadiums usually means that you need the really headline box players to be involved. But with having had such an exhausting year, I'm not sure that you will see the really biggest names, and surely guys like Dwayne Vermeulen and Yanni du Plessis, it's hard to imagine them actually playing Currie Cup towards the end. So I think the predominant emphasis is still going to be on the players who've had to do the business, had to do the hard yards through the sort of 8 rounds so far. As you say, Western Province still flying really high. I think they probably need something like 1 more point out of their last 2 matches. So out of a possible 10, maybe 1 point, I think, secures them a home semi-final at the very least. They might be stating the obvious because they're already in such a powerful position that you can virtually take it for granted that they are in the semis. But I think just mathematically they might need 1 further point to be absolutely sure of that. They're also still looking in pole position for the possible home final, which is obviously also an important consideration. They had it last year and of course botched it in the final at Newlands against the Sharks. And the defending champions, on that note, the Sharks obviously still very much in the picture because they finally found some sort of try-scoring luster against the EP Kings and put them away quite handsomely. They scored 6 or 7 tries in the process, which would be a welcome development at Kings Park, and perhaps a little bit of an ominous statement to everybody else that maybe the Sharks are just hitting a little bit of their mojo at the right time. And a very massive game coming up, of course, this weekend as they play the Lions in Durban in a game that could have massive consequences for the sort of top 3 pecking order. The Sharks still have that chance of lopping out the Lions from second, especially. So that's a massively important game this coming weekend.
Yeah. I mean, the Lions obviously are looking, they look great this season, but dynamics change a hell of a lot when the big name players come back.
Yes, absolutely.
So Bulls are still not necessarily out of it, are they?
No, not completely. The game against the Cheetahs on Friday night was an awful game to watch, quite frankly. There was not much joy involved. There was a lot of kicking and counter kicking. The crowd even got booing at one stage when the ping pong just continued for about 4 or 5 minutes incessantly. And it kind of showed you just felt that there was a rather sterile sort of vibe that neither Cheetahs or Bulls really are realistic candidates for the silverware, and that they almost seem to know it. And it certainly wasn't a pleasant match. But that said, the Bulls got the business done in Bloemfontein. They only got 4 points. They've got to such a desperate situation that they probably need to be looking at full houses. And certainly, I think for their last 2 games, they're probably going to need to get, try and get the 4-try bonus point as much as they possibly can. But at least they won in Bloemfontein. There was a lot of relief in their coaching booth. A few high fives and backslapping. But I kind of think too little, too late in their case.